The scent of finger sandwiches and lilac centerpieces fills Elise's sun-drenched living room. I shift on the antique ottoman, the only available seat when I arrived, watching Blake work his magic across the room. His broad shoulders bend toward his sister as he tops off her champagne, drawing laughs from the circle of women around him. The expensive gifts tower beside the fireplace like a miniature cityscape of silver and white, each box wrapped more perfectly than the last. Blake is such a natural with everyone, murmurs one of Elise's friends, her voice carrying just enough for me to hear. Don't you think? I nod, the motion automatic after 4 years of marriage. The champagne in my glass has gone warm, barely touched. Around me the chatter swells and dips like waves, fragments of inside jokes and shared memories washing over me. Blake's mother leads another round of laughter, her jewelry catching the afternoon light. So, calls out Tracy, Blake's cousin, her voice rising above the rest. When are you two having a baby? The question lands like a stone in still water. Every head turns toward me, expectant smiles fixed in place. I set my champagne flute on the side table, careful not to leave a ring on the polished wood. We're not in a rush, I say, the words measured, practiced from previous family gatherings. Blake snorts, loud enough to draw attention. With her? His eyes meet mine across the room, glittering with something I used to mistake for playfulness. I'd rather stay childless than raise kids with that kind of negativity. The silence stretches for one heartbeat, two. Then laughter erupts, sharp and bright as breaking glass. My cheeks burn as Blake basks in their approval, accepting a congratulatory pat from his mother. Brooke, his sister, wipes tears from her eyes. She'd probably give birth to complaints and breastfeed them. More laughter. My fingers curl against the ottoman's silk fabric. The room suddenly feels too warm, too crowded with their judgment. You're not funny. The words come out quiet, steady. Blake's smile doesn't waver. Relax. No wonder I don't want kids with you. I stand, my legs unsteady. The gift bag I bought for Elise sits forgotten beside the ottoman, its white tissue paper crushed where someone set a purse on top of it. I need air. Need to escape the weight of their stares. Blake's hand catches my arm as I pass, not violent, but firm, claiming, warning. Touch me again, I say, each word distinct, and I will make a scene. His fingers loosen. Around us, women study their champagne glasses, their shoes, anything but the crack forming in the perfect facade. A cheese plate sits abandoned on the coffee table, the carefully arranged fruit now warm and wilting. I walk out, my heels clicking against the hardwood. The sound echoes through Elise's perfect foyer with its wainscoting and family photos. My shoulder catches a table of party favors wrapped in baby blue ribbons. They scatter across the floor like fallen soldiers. Come on, Brooke calls after me. It was just a joke. Outside, my steps quicken across the driveway. The spring air carries the scent of fresh mulch and blooming dogwood, so different from the Target parking lot where I first met Blake. Where his Range Rover bumped my Honda's back bumper, and he emerged with that devastating smile, all apologies and charm. I remember thinking he looked like someone's answered prayer in his tailored suit, the way he insisted on taking me to lunch to make up for the fender bender. 4 years later, I sit in my car, knuckles white against the steering wheel. The leather seat burns through my dress. I forgot to park in the shade. My phone lights up. Blake's name appears, then again. Again. The tears come as I pull away from the curb, hot and silent. They blur the perfect suburban street where I thought I'd found a home. Where I learned that love sometimes wears a smile while it cuts you to pieces. Have you ever realized someone you love saw you as nothing more than the butt of a joke? Where would you go when home no longer feels safe? I press the accelerator, leaving the answer behind me. Later that evening, Dana's couch cushions smell like lavender fabric softener and cat hair. I stare at the unfamiliar ceiling, tracing water stains in the darkness while her tabby purrs somewhere near my feet. The spring air whistles through a gap in the window frame, carrying distant sounds of traffic and late-night revelers. Sleep won't come. My phone sits dead on the coffee table, a black mirror reflecting streetlight patterns. I'd watched the battery drain earlier, Blake's name appearing over and over until the screen finally went dark. A blessing, maybe. Morning light creeps across the living room, painting Dana's mismatched furniture in soft gold. I touch my cheek, finding the pillowcase damp beneath my fingers. When did I start crying again? Coffee first, Dana announces from the kitchen. Then we deal with whatever's on that phone. The charging cable snakes across her floor, borrowed from her bedside table. I hesitate before plugging it in. The screen blinks to life, and notifications flood in like a breaking dam. 16 missed calls from Blake, 23 text messages, 8 voicemails. Just apologize so we can move on, reads his latest message. My thumb hovers over the family group chat, the one I'd muted months ago when the teasing started getting worse. New messages stack up like ammunition. Did you see her face when she stormed out? Classic Nora drama. Someone's taking herself way too seriously. Marriage requires a sense of humor, dear. Brooke has shared a meme about oversensitive millennials. Blake's response, 3 crying, laughing emojis. Here. Dana presses a mug into my hands. The coffee burns my tongue, but I welcome the pain. Something real to focus on. I've been waiting for you to see it, she says quietly. See what? Her fingers scroll through my phone, pulling up old text conversations between us. My own words from months ago stare back at me. Blake says I'm too sensitive about the trust fund jokes. His mom asked if my parents ever taught me proper table settings. Brooke told everyone at dinner about my sad little Honda. You've been telling me about this for years, Dana says. You just didn't call it what it was. The front door clicks open. Vanessa stands in the doorway, overnight bag slung over her shoulder, her silver hair catching morning light. My big sister, still showing up when I need her, just like when Tommy Peterson pushed me off the swings in 3rd grade. Dana called her in the meantime for the emergency. This isn't just about one baby shower, she says, dropping the bag. I open my notes app, fingers moving before I can stop them. The memories pour out in bullet points. Christmas 2021. Blake laughing when his mother called my family's traditions quaint. New Year's Eve. Brooke asking if my dress was from one of those outlet stores. Last Thanksgiving. At least you tried with the stuffing. The list grows. 1 page becomes 2, then 3. Each joke a puzzle piece fitting into a pattern I hadn't wanted to see. My voice memos pop up next. Little audio diary entries I'd recorded driving home from family events, trying to convince myself I was imagining things. My own voice sounds small, uncertain. Maybe if I just try harder to fit in. Vanessa sits beside me, her shoulder pressing against mine. Would you let someone treat me this way? The question hangs between us. I already know the answer. My phone buzzes. Blake's mother's name appears on the screen. I almost decline, but something makes me answer. Nora, dear. Her voice drips honey and vinegar. We're having dinner a week later at Giovanni's, the whole family. We all need to move past this unfortunate situation. I open my mouth to say no, but Vanessa catches my eye. Her expression sparks something new in my chest. Not peace. Justice. What time? I ask. After I hang up, the apartment falls quiet except for Dana's cat batting at a dust mote. The laptop screen glows as I type. Divorce lawyers near me. Vanessa squeezes my hand. Outside, a cardinal lands on Dana's window ledge, bright red against the morning gray. It watches me for a moment before taking flight, leaving only empty sky behind. Sometimes the clearest view of a cage comes after you've already found your wings. The browser tabs multiply. Legal resources, women's support groups, apartment listings. Each click feels like picking a lock. Each new page, a door swinging open. 4 years of marriage. 1 afternoon of brutal honesty. 1,000 small cruelties finally adding up to one undeniable truth. The baby shower wasn't the final straw. It was just the first time I let myself call it what it was. When someone shows you who they truly are after 4 years, Vanessa says, reading over my shoulder, do you give them another chance? The divorce lawyer's website fills my screen. The answer pulses with each heartbeat. No. Not this time. Not ever again. The text messages start at 10 that same night. Blake's sister sends a meme about dramatic wives to the family group chat. His mother follows with a paragraph about the importance of forgiveness, tagged with prayer hands. Blake himself alternates between declarations of love and subtle digs about my tendency to overreact. I silence my phone but leave it face up on Dana's coffee table, watching the notifications pile up like autumn leaves. 3 days until the family dinner. 3 days to decide if I'm ready for what comes next. They're getting desperate, Vanessa says, peering over my shoulder at the latest message. Blake's mother has moved on to discussing our joint accounts, reminding me about the vacation home down payment we'd been saving for. Classic manipulation. My fingers hover over the screen, muscle memory trying to smooth things over. But Dana's words echo in my mind. You don't owe anyone an explanation for leaving a situation that hurts you. The next day, the law office lobby smells like leather and lemon polish. The divorce attorney, Victoria Chen, reads through my documentation without commentary, her silver hair caught in the morning light. When she finally looks up, her eyes hold no judgment. You've done your homework, she says, tapping my timeline of incidents. Most people come in with nothing but hurt feelings. You brought receipts. My old photos span across her desk like a paper trail leading back to myself. A snapshot from college graduation, champagne glass raised high. Me grinning beside my first car, a used Honda that Blake later convinced me to trade in. The woman in these pictures radiates a confidence I'd forgotten I possessed. The office door buzzes, my stomach drops as Blake strides in, all Brooks Brothers suit and practice smile. Honey, we need to talk. I stand, gathering my papers with steady hands. I'm not discussing this here. His smile falters. The charm offensive hits a wall as I walk past him, chin high. Behind me, the receptionist's voice rings out. Sir, you need to make an appointment. He leaves quietly, but I know this is not over. The flowers arrive at Dana's apartment that evening. Red roses, because Blake never bothered to learn I prefer wildflowers. Vanessa intercepts him at the door while I listen from the kitchen, gripping the counter edge. She doesn't want to see you. My sister's voice carries the steel I'm still forging. This is ridiculous. It was just family being family. You know how they joke. Blake's familiar, reasonable tone. The one that used to me question my own reactions. Everyone's worried about her. Jokes are funny. Vanessa's words slice through his pretense. Humiliation isn't. The door closes with a decisive click. I release my grip on the counter, fingertips white from pressure. The following day, Dana takes the afternoon off work to help me retrieve essentials from our house. We wait until Blake's silver BMW disappears around the corner for his lunch meeting. My key slides into the lock like it belongs to another lifetime. Only take what's absolutely yours, Dana warns, holding open a suitcase. Don't give them any ammunition. I move through rooms that suddenly feel like a museum of compromises. The beige walls I let his mother choose. The formal dining set that never knew the dinner parties I'd imagined hosting. My grandmother's copper mixing bowls, regulated to the back of a cabinet because they didn't match Blake's mother's wedding china. In the bedroom, I leave my wedding ring atop our marriage certificate in his desk drawer. The band catches light one last time before I close it away. My phone lights up, a text from my father. Your mother and I have been talking. We never felt right around his family either. Come home if you need to. The words blur as tears finally break free. Not from grief, but relief. The wall of isolation cracking just enough to let light through. That evening, my friend Sarah drove 2 hours to offer her guest room to me, no questions asked. Vanessa helps me document finances, years of joint accounts spread across her kitchen table like a roadmap to freedom. One by one, the pieces of my life separate from his. We plan the dinner like generals preparing for battle. Vanessa runs scenarios while I rehearse responses in her bathroom mirror. When his mother mentions the family name, she quizzes. Their reputation isn't my responsibility. If Blake brings up couples counseling, my lawyer will handle all communication. When Brooke calls you selfish, I meet my reflection's eyes. I don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace. The morning of the family gathering, the divorce papers arrive in a cream envelope, heavy with consequences. My attorney's paralegal delivers them with a sympathetic smile. The strange peace I've been chasing settles over me as I sign my name, each letter a step toward freedom. Standing before the mirror in Vanessa's spare room, I smooth the fabric of my dress. The color reminds me of storm clouds gathering strength. My lipstick glides on without a tremor. For 4 years, I thought staying quiet would earn me a place in their family, I tell my reflection. But silence doesn't earn respect. It invites cruelty. Behind me, Vanessa appears in the doorway, car keys in hand. Ready? I check my purse, divorce papers, phone, documentation of every joke that built this moment. The weight feels like armor. Yes, I say, and for the first time in years, I mean it completely. Off to the family gathering or a disaster. The valet opens my door at 7:40. 10 minutes late, exactly as planned. Vanessa squeezes my hand before stepping out on her side, her red hair catching the restaurant's exterior lights. Through the window, I spot Blake's family already seated at their usual round table, the one near the fountain where his mother loves to hold court. Ready? Vanessa asks, smoothing her blazer. My pulse hammers against the collar of my dress, but my steps remain steady as we enter Marcello's. The maitre d' recognizes us, his smile slipping when he notices Vanessa instead of Blake beside me. I choose the chair closest to the exit, positioning myself with my back to the wall. A habit from childhood slumber parties: always know your escape route. Darling. Blake's mother rises, her Chanel perfume preceding her air kiss that lands 2 inches from my cheek. We've been so worried. Blake watches me with the same expression he wore when picking out my engagement ring, calculating potential returns on investment. His sister Brooke sits beside him, fingers tapping her water glass, fresh highlights catching the light. The perfect family tableau, waiting for their wayward member to fall back in line. The waiter appears with the bread basket. Blake's mother waves him away with a practiced gesture. We should talk first, don't you think? Of course. Her favorite words from me, but tonight they carry a different weight. We all need to own our part in this unfortunate situation. She folds her hands on the tablecloth. Family means learning to bend. Blake leans forward, elbows bracketing his untouched wine glass. Look, we've all said things we regret. Both sides need to move forward. If you were offended, Brooke adds, that wasn't our intention. The familiar pressure builds in my chest, the urge to apologize, to smooth things over, to be the good daughter-in-law who knows her place. But 4 years of swallowed pride sit like stones in my stomach. I let the silence stretch until Blake's mother shifts in her seat. Well? Blake's fingers drum against the table. You wanted this dinner. Say your piece. I reach for my phone, feel Vanessa's knee press against mine under the table. Support without words. You're right. I've been thinking about what you've all said. Their shoulders relax. Blake's mother reaches for her wine glass, victory already assumed. The restaurant's ambient noise fades as I open my notes app. October 12th, last year. My voice carries just far enough to reach nearby tables. At Thanksgiving, you told me my stuffing was edible enough for someone who didn't grow up knowing how to cook. Brooke's smile falters. Blake straightens, wine glass forgotten. December 23rd, Christmas Eve dinner. You asked if my gift was the best I could afford on my salary, then laughed when Blake said at least it wasn't homemade this time. Nora, Blake starts, but Vanessa raises her hand. The gesture silences him more effectively than words. March 8th. Told me my presentation at the hospital fundraiser was brave, considering public speaking isn't your strength. April 2nd. Suggested I leave the hostessing to people with natural talent. The couple at the next table has stopped eating, their forks suspended mid-bite. Blake's mother's face tightens with each date, each recorded slight. June 15th. Nora, that's enough. Blake's voice cracks like a whip. People are staring. Yes, I say, meeting his eyes. They are. How does it feel having strangers witness your family's true colors? Brooke pushes back her chair, the legs scraping against hardwood. This is ridiculous. You're taking everything out of context. The context is 4 years of death by 1,000 cuts. 4 years of letting you sharpen your wit on my self-worth. My hand stays steady as I reach into my purse. If you want to keep being the golden child, Blake, do it without me. The cream envelope slides across white linen, stopping precisely between his water glass and bread plate. His confusion lasts 3 seconds before recognition dawns. His mother's sharp inhale cuts through the restaurant's soft jazz. I stand. Vanessa mirrors my movement, both of us gathering our purses with synchronized grace. Blake lunges from his chair, following us toward the lobby. His fingers catch my elbow, that familiar, possessive grip. You can't just. You had your chance. I turn to face him one last time. For 4 years, you had your chance. His face crumples, the first genuine emotion I've seen in months. Something inside me expects to feel triumph or satisfaction. Instead, there's only a quiet certainty, like finally waking from a long, uneasy dream. The valet brings my car around. Through the restaurant's front windows, I see Blake's family huddled in conference, their heads bent together like conspirators at a failed coup. Vanessa slides into the passenger seat, her presence a shield against old instincts to turn back, to apologize, to shrink myself small enough to fit in their world. The night air carries the scent of jasmine from the restaurant's garden. I remember our first date here, how Blake ordered for me without asking what I wanted. How I mistook control for confidence, criticism for care. The steering wheel feels solid under my palms as I pull away from the curb, leaving behind the wreckage of a life built on quicksand. When someone shows you repeatedly that your feelings don't matter, is there ever a way back? Or is the cleanest break the kindest? The answer follows us into the night, written in the stars above the city and the steady rhythm of my heart. Sometimes love means learning when to let go. I dropped Dana off her home. I then went to my old home. My old bedroom ceiling hasn't changed. The same glow-in-the-dark stars I stuck up there senior year still trace Orion's belt, though their shine faded years ago. From the twin bed that barely contains my adult frame, I watch my phone light up for the 40th time today. Blake's name flashes across the screen, then disappears into darkness. Mom appears in the doorway, steam rising from 2 mugs of chamomile tea. Her silver hair catches the afternoon light as she settles beside me on the floral bedspread I picked out at 16. I should have seen it sooner, I whisper, accepting the warm mug. She doesn't answer right away, her eyes drifting to my collection of debate team trophies. Their brass surfaces have dulled with time, much like my own shine during 4 years of marriage. The phone buzzes again. Mom's hand covers mine before I can reach for it. Let it ring, she says. Roses arrive the next morning. 24 perfect blooms in that particular shade of coral pink Blake always bought, never remembering or caring that I preferred wildflowers. The card trembles in my fingers. I'm sorry you felt hurt, but you know how my family is. Come home so we can work this out. I drop the bouquet in the recycling bin. The thorns catch on the newspaper, refusing to let go. Nora had an emotional breakdown at Elise's shower. Blake's voice carries through my sister's phone speaker as Vanessa plays the voicemail he left her. We're all worried about her state of mind. My fingers curl around my mug of coffee. The ceramic burns, but I don't let go. Your daughter is destroying our family. The message from Blake's mother to my own arrives at dinner. If you have any influence left with her, please help her see reason before this situation becomes irreparable. Dad sets down his fork. The only thing irreparable was their treatment of you. Brooke's Instagram story features a crying selfie. When someone you thought was family attacks you at dinner, followed by 3 broken heart emojis. The lies spread faster than truth ever could. Divorce will be expensive and messy, Blake warns when he corners me on my parents' front porch Sunday afternoon. The swing where I once dreamed of married life creaks beneath us. Is that what you want? I study his familiar profile against the setting sun. The golden boy, the charmer, the man who made mockery feel like love. I'm not discussing this further. My voice emerges steady, surprising us both. Nora, be reasonable. My lawyer will contact yours. He grabs for my left hand. The tan line where my wedding band used to sit has already begun to fade. The mutual friends start calling, their concern wrapped in careful questions. Blake's family has gotten to them first. Their gentle probes about my mental health confirm it. I send the same message to each one. A clear, factual account of 4 years of subtle cruelty culminating in public humiliation. Some respond with shock, others with silence. A few with their own stories of watching Blake's family in action. A week later, Dana drives me to view apartments. The 4th one we visit has eastern windows that will catch the morning light. Sign here, the leasing agent says, sliding papers across her desk. For the first time in 4 years, only my name appears on the dotted line. A whole month passes in arranging decorations of my new home, and finally freedom to myself. Then one Tuesday afternoon, the farmer's market bursts with early summer produce when I bump into them. Brooke spots me first, her designer purse swinging as she stalks between the tomato displays. There she is, the woman who broke my brother's heart. Other shoppers pause, plastic bags crinkling as they turn to watch. I select a perfectly ripe tomato, testing its weight in my palm. I'm just here for the tomatoes, Brooke. Mrs. Anderson from my parents' church clicks her tongue, shaking her head at Brooke. Such a shame when people can't handle themselves in public, she murmurs, loud enough to carry. Blake's mother appears, manicured fingers closing around Brooke's arm. They retreat past the honey vendor, their social standing shifting like sand beneath their feet. The final meeting happens in my lawyer's office next week, Wednesday. Blake arrives in his best suit, that practiced smile in place. His confidence wavers when I produce documentation of every account, every asset, every detail he thought I'd overlook. Just sign, my lawyer says, sliding the papers across the polished conference table. Blake's pen hovers over the signature line. I didn't think you'd really go through with it. I think of that afternoon at Elise's shower, of finger sandwiches and lilac centerpieces, and the moment I finally saw the truth. That was always the problem. 6 months later, I'm watering the herb garden on my balcony when the mail arrives. The envelope bears Blake's familiar handwriting, each letter precise and controlled. Sunlight streams through my eastern windows, painting patterns on the hardwood floors I chose myself. I hold the envelope, feeling its weight. Inside could be apology or accusation, closure or chaos. The basil releases its scent as my fingers brush its leaves. Would you read a letter from someone who broke your heart? Or is the past best left unopened? The following months pass quickly. These days, the sunlight streaming through gauzy curtains I picked without asking anyone's opinion. The walls in my apartment glow coral pink, a color Blake would have dismissed as too Miami Vice. His voice in my head grows fainter each morning. My coffee maker hisses and bubbles, filling the kitchen with the scent of fresh grounds. No more choking down the bitter dark roast Blake insisted was sophisticated. I splash oat milk into my mug, stirring in a spoonful of sugar. The sweetness feels like rebellion. The promotion letter sits propped against my laptop, already dog-eared from how many times I've reread it. Your leadership during the healthcare system merger demonstrated exceptional insight. My hands had trembled when I opened the envelope last week. 4 years of working around Blake's dinner parties, his family's holiday obligations, his insistence that my career was cute. Now my name sits on the executive.org chart. The balcony beckons, barely bigger than a postage stamp, but mine. Every inch covered in container plant shrubs, succulents, one defiant tomato vine. I fill my watering can, watching drops catch the morning light. A neighbor waves from her matching balcony. I wave back without checking if my smile looks approachable enough. Dr. Martinez's office feels like sanctuary now, though my hands shook the first time I walked in. What brings you here today? She'd asked. I'd prepared a speech about work-life balance, professional development. Instead, I burst into tears and talked for an hour about Target parking lots and baby showers and the weight of always being the punchline. You're describing emotional abuse, she said quietly. The words hit like a thunderclap. Now we meet weekly, unraveling the threads of how I learned to make myself smaller, quieter, more palatable. How I miss Blake's family's laughter for love. Sarah texts about meeting for coffee. We haven't spoken since my wedding. Blake thought she was kind of intense. Now we're meeting at our old favorite cafe. My thumb hovers over the emoji menu, no longer calculating which response would earn the least mockery. The widower from my book club asked me to coffee last week. Paul, with his silver hair and kind eyes, who listens more than he speaks. We talked about his late wife's garden, my newfound love of spicy food, the mystery novel we're both reading. 2 hours passed without me once wondering if I was taking up too much space. Last night at dinner with Vanessa, I laughed so hard water came out my nose. My first instinct was to clamp down, scan faces for judgment. But my sister just handed me a napkin, tears streaming down her own face as she finished her story. The freedom of unguarded joy still feels new, precarious. Dana's baby shower sparkles with genuine warmth. No towers of color-coordinated gifts, no champagne flutes filled with judgment. Just friends sprawled on mismatched furniture, trading birth stories and parenting advice. Someone balanced a paper plate of cake on her pregnant belly, and no one made a snide comment about calories. What about you, Nora? Tracy asks, genuine curiosity in her voice. Any plans for kids? The old fear flutters. What's the right answer? The safe answer? I take a breath. I'm focusing on being the best aunt possible right now. Warmth blooms in my chest as conversations flow around me. No hidden barbs, no subtle digs, just women supporting women, the way I once thought Blake's family would support me. The letter arrives on a Tuesday, Blake's familiar handwriting making my stomach clench. 3 pages of apology, reflection, therapy revelations. I've changed, he writes. We could try again, do better this time. I trace his signature, remembering the man who charmed me in that parking lot. He probably has changed, but I've changed more. Do you regret it? Vanessa asks when I tell her about the letter the next day. We're sharing spring rolls at our favorite Vietnamese place, the one Blake always said smelled weird. Not for a minute. My response to Blake is two sentences. I wish you well on your journey of growth. Please don't contact me again. The women's shelter that night feels different than I imagined, brighter, more alive. I tell my story in group sessions, watching understanding dawn in eyes that know exactly how charm can curdle into cruelty. The first joke isn't really a joke, one woman says. It's a test to see what you'll tolerate. Thanksgiving arrives in a swirl of autumn leaves. No perfectly coordinated table settings, no strategic seating chart. Just my family, Dana and her husband, Paul from book club, two friends from the shelter support group. We eat off mismatched plates and laugh until we snort. Standing at my window, I watch the sunset paint the sky in shades no one can mock me for loving. The silver ring on my right hand catches the light, a gift to myself, chosen without asking anyone's permission. My phone chimes with Dana's ringtone. Dinner? She asks. That new Thai place finally opened. I smile, already reaching for my keys. The woman who shrank herself to fit into Blake's family wouldn't recognize me now. But that's okay. I finally recognized myself.